Hi everyone, this is Lisa. I hope you're having a great weekend. Well, it's Simple Saturday, so I have just a couple of tips for you on sponging, blending, and creating texture. I'm going to show you how to use your sponges, daubers, and also a stipple brush. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how I put my sponges together. They come in a pack of 3 and they're round. I cut them in quarters and then I staple a piece of cardstock on the top and label it. So I have a sponge for every color that we have. Okay, so the first basic type of sponging is just getting the ink on your sponge and sponging around an item like I'm doing here on this balloon. It adds dimension and it looks great. In fact, I sponge a lot of things. I would say 75% of the things that I do, I sponge. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do some blending. This is just regular white cardstock that I'm using. And I'm going to start with the Flirty Flamingo. And I don't know if you could tell, but the sponge is new and it didn't have a lot of ink on it. So you want to make sure that your sponge is well inked. You start off of the paper and you move in with a light hand towards the center. And you just keep going until you get it pretty much the depth of color that you want. Then you take your darker color, which we have Mellow Mambo here, and we're going to do the same thing. Start off the page and with a light hand go in and get it to about where we want it. And we're almost there. Okay, so next we're going to come back in with our Flirty Flamingo and we're going to overlap the Flirty Flamingo with the Melon Mambo. And this assures that we have a nice blend. Now you can also blend down, like you can blend from the Melon Mambo into the Flirty Flamingo. You just do it in the reverse. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to blend with this sponge. You can, this brush. You can use any kind of brush, an old makeup brush, anything like that works great. This does the same thing basically, only it's a lighter blend. And it does take a little bit longer, but basically it's the same principle. You do the same thing. Now, as you can see, I'm just taking the Melon Mambo, blending it down, and now I've got the Flirty Flamingo and I'm blending it up into the lighter part of the Melon Mambo. And there we have it. It looks pretty good. So I'll bring this up to the camera so that you can see it a little better. There we go. See the difference in the two? The brush definitely is a lighter blend as opposed to the sponges. Okay, now I'm also going to take the brush and show you that you can do like a stipple type of technique. This works great if you want to create a background or if you want to fill in something and you don't want a solid color. This is a good thing to do. You can also do this with a sponge, which I will show you in just a minute. I'm going to bring in the crumb cake and I'm going to use the sponge, and basically you just pounce. And this works great for if you're trying to create something, say like a beach or some dirt or something like that. And you just ink up with the sponge and just lightly pounce. And then that's the result. It just adds dimension and a little something extra to your stamped, what do I want to say? Your stamped project. Okay, now you can also use your sponges for stenciling, which I'm sure you know. I'm using Balmy Blue here, and I would not normally do this dark, but I'm doing it darker so that you can see what I'm doing. And there we have it, some lovely clouds. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is a sponge dauber. Now, you can use a sponge dauber to go around the edges of your cardstock, but the edges of your cardstock tend to be rough, and that causes the foam on those sponge daubers to wear out quickly. So I tend to use the regular sponges more than the daubers for shading. However, look at this cool background I'm making with the daubers. So that's about it. That's all I have to show you for today. I hope you learned a little something new. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend and happy crafting.